This screencast is going to be the longest of the settings because of how big the section is and how much there's in that section. So I'm going to go ahead and click Settings. And this time I'm going to talk from General down to Privacy. So I'm going to work my way through as best I can and help you out. So the first one there is About, and when you click on that, this is a great thing to do to name your iPad, just because then you know it's yours. If you have multiple iPads in the building or in your home and you want to name them because they all have the same case or whatnot, it's there. You also notice this has some other features in it that you want to pay attention to. Your software version, the model name that you have, the model number and serial number. The other thing that you're going to have there is you can see songs, videos, photos, and you can see of my capacity of 16 gigs how much I have available and what's taking up the most. So obviously I have a lot of photos, 1,841. I have just a total of 9 apps. If I scroll down a little bit farther, you'll notice the Wi-Fi address, the Bluetooth, and the SEID number, which I have no idea what that is. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit the back button in General. The next feature is Software Update. You may or may not have a software update coming out of the box. If you do, you will see that and it'll tell you how large it is to update and what's involved in the update and everything. And I suggest doing that when you don't want to use your iPad for an hour or so, because sometimes they could take a little bit longer than what you think. So that's there. Next is AirDrop. AirDrop is when you want to send something, maybe a picture or a website or something, to somebody that's close in the area. I use this all the time with teachers if I'm in their classroom pushing in and doing something and we take pictures and they want to post them to Seesaw or to Twitter or to whatnot. We'll AirDrop photos back and forth. Websites is another feature that we use frequently. So AirDropping is great. The settings in here you receive from everybody, contacts only, or you're not receiving at all. And I have it set for contacts only because in public places, sometimes people see that AirDrop's on for everybody and they try and send things that are not so appropriate. Next is Handoff. Handoff is great because if you're working on another iOS device like an iMac or a MacBook, you can start working in, let's say, Pages on your MacBook and then pick it right where you left off on your iPad. So that's what Handoff does. Multitasking and the dock. So this allows for multi-apps to be going on, and you can have a split view and a split over apps and things, and I'll show that in another video. Picture-in-picture is great. If you're watching a YouTube clip and you want to be working on another app, you can kind of minimize it so it goes into one of the corners, and you can customize which corner that goes to. You have gestures on, and then the dock can show suggested and recent apps, and I'll turn that on so that you can see what that looks like later. So I'm going to hit back in General again. And this time I'm going to go to iPad storage. And so this is going to tell me, kind of give you a little bit more of a insight on what apps are being used and what's so large. So you can see that my Photos has 434 megabytes. Netflix has, so now it's updated. TouchCast Studio has 3.95 gigs, so I need to kind of get that, clean that out a little bit. And then you can see Photos has a couple of megs. So not a whole lot there, but what you can do is you can come here and you can click and you can offload that app. So you can take it off for a while or you can delete the app. So that's a great feature. I'm going to go ahead and offload that and you can see. So then it's going to clean up all that storage there. So that'll give me a little bit more storage on my iPad. So that's a nice feature. Background app refresh. So this allows you to refresh content when it's on Wi-Fi in the background. Again, preserving battery. So that's just another feature that's there. Date and time is an obvious thing. Keyboard, you can now download. Keyboard. You can see I have 2 keyboards. The English keyboard and also the emoji keyboard. If you are a teacher that has ELL kids in your classroom, you can add different keyboards. So there are many different keyboards that you could add here. Or if you are a second language teacher, you could also add those for that feature as well. Again, there's all different types of settings here that you can play with and kind of see and enable. I believe that when you turn your iPad on for the first time, these are all turned on. So you can see split keyboard I'll go over later, key flicks I'll go over later, enable dictation I'll go over later. So just make sure some of that stuff is turned on. So I'll hit General back there. Fonts, I got ahead of myself before. You can now download different fonts from the App Store. So if you're crazy about doing different fonts, you can do that. Language and region is an obvious thing. It's in English. You can see that. Dictionary. These are the types of dictionaries that I have turned on. Again, you can turn other ones on and off if you'd like. VPN is having your own private network. And this is if you want to shut down or reset your iPad, you can do that as well. So I've often reset my iPad because I need to just start from the beginning, like when it comes out of the box. So next is the control center, and you can see that I'm going to swipe down from the top right to the open the control center. So all the way up where you see my time, and you can see my Wi-Fi. If I slide there, there's my control center. I have my airplane mode, I have my Wi-Fi mode, I have my AirDrop, and I have my Bluetooth. I have different settings for brightness and the sound. I can take pictures, my stopwatch, my Apple remote for my Apple TV, the one where it has the icon and it's locked, that keeps it in portrait mode, and then do not disturb. And you can see that I'm mirroring to my MacBook right now to record this video. So I can customize that by turning some apps on and off if I'd like. So that's the control center. Brightness and display. They now have an appearance where you can go light or dark, so this is great at night if you're reading in bed and your significant other is asleep. You can turn it to dark mode, and you can do that automatically as well. That's where that night shift comes in. Your text size, so if you have students that are can't see as well, or you yourself are getting older and you need to have the text a little bit larger, you can do that there. And then you have bold text, and then your home screen layout, you can change that as well to make the icons either larger or smaller. The next feature is accessibility, and this is great for anybody that might have an IEP and might have accommodations. So you have VoiceOver, I have it turned off. You have Zoom turned off, Magnifier turned off. I'm going to tell you, play with them if you think a student might benefit from that. You have your display and text size, which is exactly what it says. I can put buttons around all the different, where it says accessibility, I can put buttons around that. So again, play with those and see how it works. Motion. So motion is, I'm going to be honest, I'm not sure what that is. So we're going to skip over that. Spoken content is just recording, and then auto descriptions is turned off. Physical and motor, switch control, voice control, home button, Apple TV remote, and then keyboards. And then you have your hearing devices. This is great for anybody that might be hearing impaired and they have hearing aids. They can connect their hearing aids to their iPad so all the sounds come through that as well. Guided access, I'll do a complete video on that. Right now it's turned off, but basically you're limiting a kid or a student to one particular app. And then you have Siri. You can type to Siri, and I'm going to actually turn that on. So that's accessibility. Next, I have wallpaper. I can change my wallpaper with any image that I have. So here are all my images that I might have. So I can change them to certain things. So I can change it to this if I wanted to. And you can see that's downloading from the cloud because that's where I took that picture from. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to hit set. And I can set it to my lock screen, my home screen, or both. And I'm going to set it to both right now. And that's my daughter on the right and her best friend on the left. Okay, so then I can go back. I can go back to wallpaper and you can see that that's there. I have Siri and search. So listen for Hey Siri, press home for Siri. Allow Siri when it's locked. I'm using English. My voice is a female voice. And then I have feedback. They give me suggestions in search, suggestions in lookup, and in the lock screen. And then I have different apps that can use Siri as well. So you can see all these different apps can use Siri. Next is the Touch ID. This Touch ID is to unlock your iPad. It can also use it to buy apps in the App Store. This was, when you first set up your iPad, you could have done this. I chose not to do it, and this is where you can do it now. I can also add as many fingerprints as I want to this, and I can turn a passcode on as well. So if you wanted to do that, those are the different types of things that you can do. Down on the bottom here, you have allow access when locked to all those different things, and right now they're turned on. Next, I have the battery, and this tells me I can turn on or off my battery. I like to have the percentage turned on, so you can see I have 80% of my battery still on right now. And then this talks about all the different screens that have used my battery. So settings right now is taking up 57%, home and lock screen 20%, and so on and so forth. And last section in here is privacy. When you download multiple apps, you're going to see that it'll ask you to allow privacy or not. Some of the ones that are allowing privacy that I've allowed are my contacts, my calendar, or my reminders, photos, Bluetooth, blah, 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 blah. Okay, and then you have analytics and advertising, which I'm not really sure